What if hot and cold were not enemies, but simply different degrees of the same thing? Hermes Trismegistus taught, everything is dual, everything has poles. The principle of polarity reveals that truth is not found in the extremes, but in the movement between them. We live in a universe of contrasts, and we are often led to believe that opposites cancel each other out. But in Hermetic wisdom, they complete one another, weaving together the dynamic fabric of reality. The mystery lies in realizing that without contrast, there is no perception, and without polarity, there is no life. Perhaps you feel trapped in inner conflicts, love and hate, courage and fear, hope and despair. It can seem as though opposites are tearing your soul in two directions. Who hasn't felt divided, unable to choose between paths, or torn apart by emotions that appear irreconcilable? One day, you feel absolute confidence. The next, deep doubt. One moment, you are full of affection. The next, consumed by anger. But what if these opposites were not rivals, but expressions of the same essence? What if what we call contradiction is, in fact, an invitation to see the continuum behind the extremes? That is the vision the principle of polarity invites us to embrace. The principle of polarity shows that everything in the universe has two poles, light and shadow, positive and negative, high and low. They are not separate things, but extremes of the same scale. Darkness is not the absolute opposite of light. It is only the absence of intensity. In the same way, silence is not the opposite of sound, but its reduction to a minimum. Cold is not a substance different from heat, but simply a variation of the same thermal energy. Likewise, pain is not the true opposite of joy, but part of the same field of experience. When we understand this, we begin to see that existence is not divided into rigid blocks, but composed of gradations that flow into one another. This perception frees us from rigid thinking, the kind that splits the world into right or wrong, good or bad, light or dark, without recognizing that these pairs are part of one continuous line of movement. Polarity teaches us that everything can be transmuted. Hate can be softened until it becomes compassion. Fear can be elevated until it reveals itself as courage. Ignorance, when illuminated, becomes wisdom. The secret is not to deny one pole, but to learn how to move along the scale. If everything is gradation, then there is always a path of transition. The wise person recognizes the pole they currently occupy, but knows they are free to walk toward the other. Thus, polarity is not just a theory, but a practical key, a way to understand that each opposite is also its own mirror. How can we apply this principle in our daily lives? When you feel an intense emotion, ask yourself, what is its opposite? If you feel fear, remember courage. If you feel hatred, remember the possibility of love. If despair takes hold of you, recall that hope exists within the same field of experience. By naming the opposite pole, you already begin to move along the scale. This simple act is a practice of inner transmutation. Think, for example, of a conflict. Someone provokes you, awakening anger within you. If you only react, anger grows and takes control. But if you remember that at the other pole lies understanding, and you take even a small step in that direction, polarity begins to work. The intensity diminishes, your perspective widens, and anger gives way to a more conscious response. Or imagine a moment of deep discouragement. Recognizing that discouragement is simply one point on the scale of motivation can give you the clarity that enthusiasm is not far away, but accessible if you choose to walk gradually toward it. This is the power of the principle of polarity, to show us that no emotion, thought, or situation is fixed or absolute. Everything can be transformed, because everything is movement between poles. Polarity is the mystery of the opposites that dwell within us and within the cosmos. Those who learn to reconcile them discover that there is no battle, but continuity. They realize that each extreme is only a step, a partial expression of the unity of the all. For where the poles meet, truth is revealed. And that meeting does not happen only outside of us, but within us. It is in the human heart that love and hate, courage and fear, light and shadow can be recognized as parts of the same essence. Wisdom is not found in denying the shadow, but in integrating it. It is not found in clinging to the light, but in realizing that light is visible only because darkness surrounds it. In this dynamic balance, the soul finds serenity, not by eliminating opposites, but by accepting them as the dance of life. Hermes reminds us that polarity is law, and to live according to it is to live in harmony with the hidden rhythm of the universe. When you accept this truth, you discover that nothing within you is an enemy. Every emotion, every thought, every sensation is simply one pole of the same field, asking to be understood. Polarity does not divide, it unites. And it is in the meeting of opposites that the unity of the all is revealed.